Good evening, and welcome to the College of Community Innovation and Education's Welcome Showcase. My name is Mary Renti, and I am the director of the college's Undergraduate Affairs Office. We are the advising office for students pursuing a degree from our college. This evening, we have a great group of faculty ready to share with our new students and families about the field they teach and critical advice for new college students. Our forum tonight is set up as a webinar, and you will be able to submit your questions by using the question and answer feature. Please start submitting your questions already for our panel. This is a great opportunity for you to get questions answered by faculty, and we also have administrators and academic advisors in the panel. Members of our advising team, which I refer to as CCIE navigators, will be able to assist you with some of those questions, and some of the other questions will be answered by our panelists for the benefit of all attendees. This evening session is being recorded, and it will be available for your review later by logging in the pre-orientation modules of the new student orientation platform. Now, I would like to introduce the College of Community Innovation and Education's Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, Dr. Ronnie Zimmerman, which will get us started this evening.
Hi there and good evening. And I'd like to welcome you each to this new platform that we have this evening. I am Ronnie Zimmerman, the Associate Dean of Academic Affairs in the College of Community Innovation and Education. I'd like to welcome you to our family. Your future here at UCF and in CCIE is bright. I'd like to encourage you to fully take advantage of everything we have to offer you, not just academically in our college and university, but also socially, athletically, and so on. You have a wonderful team of advisors and faculty that are at your disposal and are willing and able and excited to work with you. Don't be shy about introducing yourself, interacting with them, and keeping in close contact. This is one of the keys to your success while you are at UCF. These individuals are people who are dedicated to their roles. They love what they do. They're excellent at what they do, and they really want to help you, which is why they are in the roles that they are in. As you embark upon your time at UCF, I would encourage you to explore, to challenge yourselves, make new friends, think outside the box, and don't be afraid to reach for the stars. Again, I'd like to welcome you, encourage you to have a wonderful time as you're here at UCF and in CCIE. And now I'd like to ask our faculty panelists to introduce themselves, starting with Dr. Alice Noblin.
Hi, good evening. My name is Alice Noblin, and I am an associate professor in the School of Global Health Management and Informatics. Dr. Matusiak, I believe you're next.
Yes, Dr. Matusiak, you are next. Thank you. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Matt Matusiak from the Department of Criminal Justice, and I'm the undergraduate program director for the department as well.
Thank you. Next is Dr. Trimble Spalding.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Leanne Trimble Spalding. I am a senior lecturer in the School of Teacher Education, specifically focusing on elementary education.
Thank you, Dr. Spalding. And finally, Dr. Christy Foley.
Good evening, everyone. Nice to be here with you. I am a lecturer in the Legal Studies Department, and I focus on conflict resolution, and I also serve as the department's program coordinator.
Thank you, Dr. Foley. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Mary Renty, who will be conducting the next parts of our webinar.
Thank you, Dr. Zimmerman. Well, great. So we're going to get started. And we have a first question, which is, what is your favorite course module, or topic to teach, and why? And we will ask the panelists to start answering this question in the same order they were introduced. Thank you.
So the program that I teach in is called Health Management and I haven't had to say this for a while. Health Informatics and Information Management. Pardon that. And one of the junior level classes that our students take when they actually come into the core part of the curriculum is, it kind of has an old school name of health record organization and management, but it has a lot of really interesting topics in it. And it gives me a chance as a faculty member to really get to know the students and kind of get to see what kind of critical thinking skills they have, what they've learned in other courses, things like that. So it's a great sort of springboard into the program where I get to know the students, and then the students get a chance to interact with me and then other classmates in the program. And, I just encourage everybody to just, make sure that you think of all your classes as your network and get to know your fellow students in addition to your faculty and advisors and all those that you interact with in your career at UCF.
So the course that I'm most interested in teaching and I enjoy the most would be our Police and Society course or our Criminal Justice Systems course. And those courses allow me really to focus on law enforcement organizations, which is my primary research interest. So there are a lot of times that I get to speak with students and really start to discuss those things that are different between the law enforcement career field and the nature of law enforcement versus what is seen on TV. So there are a lot of differences between that fictional version of law enforcement and then what we see in everyday application and the role that criminal justice organizations play within society. So that's what I get really excited about. And it's really enjoyable to speak with undergraduates and see their perspectives on the police and how those change or might be informed throughout the course of a semester.
All right, let's see, that's a tough one. I am a triple knight. I have all three of my degrees from the University of Central Florida and have technically been here since 1991. I've taught 9 different classes and 3 different programs over my last 19 years teaching here. And I guess at this point, I love teaching all the classes that I teach, but I'll highlight my program that is in concert with Nemours Children's Hospital. So in the elementary education program, and it also kind of bleeds over into ESC and early childhood as well as secondary education, all 4 of our programs. I am the director of Peds Academy at Nemours Children's Hospital, and we offer an alternative internship placement. And while I function as the director on the UCF side of that program, I also mentor and facilitate clinical coordination for the interns. So I get to interview prospective students that might be a good fit for working with critically ill children bedside for part of their internship 1 experience. And I really have a great opportunity to establish wonderful relationships with them and mentor them throughout the program. And then I end up working with seniors. I'm the shepherd for the final class that all of our elementary ed educators take. So it's a really great experience for me because I get to work with our interns when they're out in placements, both in our schools, but then also helping them to transition from the college side of things to their actual workplace, becoming educators, which is extremely rewarding. All you, Christy.
That sounds like a great position to be in, Leanne. So my favorite class to teach is called Negotiation in Practice, which is a little bit of an awkward name for a class. But basically, it is UCF's competitive mediation team. We are both a club and a class, and I love it, honestly, for some of the same reasons that our other instructors loved their classes, because I get to work really closely with my students. I get to know them well. We travel sometimes internationally for competitions. We represent UCF, and it is really fun for me to see my students get so passionate about conflict resolution and to really work hard and then achieve their goals at tournaments, and to get to know them by traveling with them. I feel like I'm very lucky as a faculty member because I get to see a whole nother side of my students by traveling with them that a lot of faculty never get to see, unfortunately. And it's a great way for me to get to know them and write them better recommendation letters for law school and jobs and everything like that. So I really love teaching that class.
Thank you to our panelists. We have a question that has come through the Q&A, and it is directed to Dr. Matusiak. And the question is, what careers can I pursue with a criminal justice degree?
So Daniel, there are a lot of different careers that you can pursue with a criminal justice degree. A lot of what we think of with criminal justice is going to be related to law enforcement, corrections, or the courts. So there are careers as probation officers with the courts. You could also be a corrections officer or a law enforcement officer. Outside of the criminal justice system, though, a criminal justice degree would prepare you to work potentially in the private security industry or other fields like that. You might also consider working for a nonprofit organization. Several of our students have worked with domestic violence shelters in the past. We also have several students that have worked with human trafficking and drug trafficking task forces in the Central Florida area. So there are many different careers out there. You know, for example, I have my bachelor's and master's in criminal justice. Between my master's and my PhD, though, I worked as a product liability investigator and insurance adjuster. So those investigative skills were something that were really utilized in my professional career between my academic degrees. I hope that answers your question, but if not, I'm happy to elaborate on that more individually.
Thanks so much, Dr. Matusiak. We have another question for the panel. And the question that we have is, how do I get involved with this major? So I think that we have a pretty good, solid, diverse grouping here. So if each of our panelists can address this question.
So for health informatics and information management, a great way to get involved is through the student clubs. And we also have one for our health services administration students. And you could join either club, obviously. And there's other clubs on campus too. I think all of our majors within the college have student club opportunities. So that's one way. One thing that I would highly encourage, if your instructors tell you about local professional meetings that you can attend in person, those are a great way to start your networking with people in the profession that you want to go into. With health informatics and information management, we have a lot of alumni. This program has been at UCF since the 70s. So there's a lot of alumni that are still in Central Florida or in other parts of Florida and actually throughout the country. And they're willing to, network and mentor students, but you have to kind of take that first step and reach out to them. And, consider a LinkedIn account where maybe you can start meeting people virtually and then maybe get to know them through some face-to-face interactions on campus as well.
Criminal justice students can get involved in many of the same ways. We have Lambda Alpha Epsilon, that is our primary student organization. It operates as a pre-professional fraternity, so they have a lot of networking opportunities. They do a job fair in the spring. They also bring in professionals from the field for guest speaking engagements. So there are a lot of ways to get involved with student organizations. We also have a student honor society for our criminal justice students. One of the other things that is specific to the criminal justice department is the CJ newsletter that we have through the Canvas, through web courses, excuse me. So students, as they're monitoring their web courses inbox, will see announcements from Dr. Watkins and myself about things that are going on in the department, internship opportunities, jobs that are available for students. So I definitely recommend monitoring the CJ newsletter daily, but also keep an eye out for those types of things that would be announcements for things that the Department of Criminal Justice is putting on, like our speaker series or something like that. And I think that's about it.
I'm going to echo what Alice was talking about in regards to professional organizations. I happen to be the advisor for the Student National Education Association, and we have a fabulous group of future educators. I've got wonderful officers, and through that organization, we do service projects. We provide, I'm thinking of our bowling cans for kindness that we did last fall. We do Read Across America, where, take students into local schools and we do read alouds and activities to go along with them. There's just no better way to learn to teach than to actually be working with students. So of course, through our internships and through some service learning courses, you'll be interacting with local schools, but then you also, you want to be a part of those organizations. So you have the opportunity to interact with folks that have decided to do exactly what it is that you want to do and are passionate about that. And it's also a great line item on your upcoming resume for you to show that you're truly, just really wanting to become a teacher and you're doing everything that you can in order to do that. I also say, become involved with your faculty. And I think this is something that will come up, but I've taught close to 5,000 students over the last 19 years, and that's a lot of people, and there's just one of me. So as you begin your courses, just make a point to introduce yourself to your faculty members and to interact with them, because chances are they'll have opportunities for you as well to become more involved.
And in the legal studies department, we actually have kind of a job announcement board, an announcement board in general, kind of like Matt was talking about for criminal justice. We call it Advisor on Demand. So that's where we post job announcements, internship opportunities. That's where we post any activities we have going on as a department. For example, every year we actually host a local district court of appeal, and they actually have their hearings for some cases at the UCF downtown campus. And our students get to attend and get to ask questions, and it's a really fun event. So all sorts of things like that that we have going on in the department, we post about on Advisor on Demand. And the other thing that Alice touched on as well is that we have groups in our department. So in the legal studies department, we have groups like the mediation team, which I coach. Also, we have a nationally renowned moot court team, and we have one of the only undergraduate law journals in the country. There are only a handful of them, and we are one of them. And so we have a lot of different ways for students to get involved. We even have a legal honor society. So I hope that if you are joining legal studies, that you'll find something you're passionate about and join one of those clubs and join us for some of our fun activities.
Thank you. A question that we get asked frequently is, how often should a student meet with an academic advisor? So in response to that, of course, in being the director of the Undergraduate Affairs Office, I will say at least once a semester, if any, at least once a year. But I would love to hear what our faculty would recommend a student regarding academic advising.
Well, we in HIM, we try to create a schedule for the student based on their individual needs, I guess. So in other words, where they're at with the prerequisites or, you know, where they're at with the coursework. And so that's sort of our jumping off spot. And usually in a transfer orientation, or if it is a FTIC, we would start that from the second 2 years, I mean, the last 2 years. But for transfer students, we try to provide this so that you have a really good plan moving forward of what to expect, because you do need to think that in some majors, not every class is offered every semester. So if you don't plan properly, it could, you know, prolong your time at UCF. And that's, none of us want you to have to wait to take a class because you missed it and because you didn't realize this could happen. So if you're in touch with your advising team, then, and typically if you're in the major, then you would have somebody within the department to work with. So if you're in a junior or senior level, but they can, you know, tell you when classes are coming up or which ones are going to be offered in which semester, what format they might be in. So if you're an online student versus somebody who wants to come to campus face to face, when those opportunities are available. But you can't always find everything. Well, the schedule's not open, you know, for more than a couple semesters at a time. And also every little detail, like what I mentioned with online versus face to face, those kind of things wouldn't be listed in the catalog for each, you know, ahead of time historically. So but if you talk to your advisor, then they would have a pretty good idea of what's coming up for your major. And, you know, staying on track is so important. So if there's any reason that you miss a class and you didn't take it on time, then you need to get with your advisor on how to get back on track. So staying on track is really the most important thing so that you can enjoy your academics and then also, you know, have, you know, a good, well-rounded experience outside of the classroom as well.
So I'll echo what Mary said about meeting with an advisor each semester. And that's similar to the reasons that Alice just pointed out about when courses are offered, what modality they're offered in. You know, for example, with criminal justice, we have a number of certificate programs that require students to take specific restricted electives within the department. So those courses not being offered every semester really requires students to think ahead and plan out their schedules, especially when we have courses that are prerequisites for other courses. So you need to make sure that you're taking those courses in order. So if you're able to meet with your advisor, you're a lot more likely to know if the class that you want to take is going to be in person or online, what your preferences are in that regard, but also you're able to better compose your schedule so you know what's going to be coming up for the next 2 semesters or so, and you can have a plan moving forward within the major. So you're hitting all of your milestones within the major, you're checking off the required courses, but you're also taking those electives that you're interested in. So I think it's really important to work with the advisors in your major so that you make sure that you're on track for an on-time graduation.
In elementary education, we actually have an advising web course, and I was one of the 5 faculty members to help create that. It took quite a bit of time about 2 years ago to kind of put all of that together. And our students, once accepted, are auto-enrolled into that web course. And there are little checkpoints along the way, reminding you of state certifications you need to take, reminding you what classes are coming up, that you need to apply for internship. So that web course that is fairly recent in our college has been a huge help to students. I would again echo what Mary said, at least once a semester. But then in addition to that, each person that is instructing you should have some information for you as well. I usually tell my students, you know, you have me, use me, ask me questions. And even if those questions are not specifically related to the course, they can clearly ask me questions about the program. And I always say, you know, if I don't know the answer, I know someone that does. So that's super, super helpful. Again, if you communicate with your faculty members and just ask some of those questions, because those are the things that you need to know so that you can finish UCF, you can finish in the time allotted.
And I think honestly, what Alice and Matt and Leanne have said is exactly correct. I know in the legal studies department, we recommend that you meet with your advisor once a semester just to make sure you're on track with everything. Also asking your faculty members and your program coordinator. I got an email from a student just this afternoon of when will internships be offered? How often do you offer them so I can plan my schedule and graduate on time? We offer it every semester. It's an easy answer, but if you're not a faculty member, a program coordinator, and advisor, you may not know that. So it's good to ask. So I definitely recommend just touching base and making sure you're on the right track with your advisor on a frequent basis, or at the very least with a program coordinator about upcoming course offerings or faculty members to see, you know, hey, if your class has a prereq, when do I need to take that prereq to get into your class? That kind of thing.
Thank you, Dr. Foley. Another question that we have is, as a faculty member, do you offer office hours, and in what modalities? Like, do you do office hours face-to-face, or do you do them online, or a mix of it?
So I would say I typically do a mix. I'm on campus, you know, I can't say I'm on campus 5 days a week, but I'm on campus at least 3 days a week, and certainly available by appointment. And I think most faculty would make themselves available if possible by appointment, face-to-face. But if not, there are, you know, alternatives. Now that we have such great tools as Zoom, we can still communicate and see each other. But yeah, I would say the best thing to do is reach out to the individual faculty member. I think most faculty members welcome a student to come in onto campus and interact.
I would agree. One thing that I would stress to a new student at UCF is really utilize your faculty's office hours. It's your chance to engage with them, you know, potentially on a one-on-one basis. So you can talk about the material, you can get a better understanding of what to expect at UCF. So for myself, I offer face-to-face office hours, Zoom, or telephone calls, whatever really is most convenient for the student. So it's my hope that by making myself available, it makes the student's experience with the course better, but also it makes the material easier to understand, or it can be clarified. I view my role as a faculty member as being a resource for a student to make their way through the course and obtain the knowledge from that topic that they really need for the major.
I know we all have minimum requirements in regards to our office hours and meeting with us, and we have face-to-face and now, of course, Zoom options. So in most of our syllabi, you'll note that it says exactly when our office hours are. I know a lot of us do it, you know, right before and or right after our face-to-face classes. me mentoring students, at the hospital and out in our local schools. I'm not always in my office, but when I'm teaching on campus, I'm there before and after. So just really paying attention to those office hours, and then also noting when Zoom hours are available, because many of us will, try to work around all of our very busy schedules and offer up some office hours via Zoom that might be more convenient for all of us.
And in the legal studies department, it's very similar. Our faculty are usually available a little bit in person, also quite frequently on Zoom or via telephone. One thing that we also usually say is we're available by appointment. So I know in the past I've had students who say, hey, I'm an online student, I work full-time, I can't do anything until either after work or early in the morning before I go to work, and your office hours aren't during that time. And I've said, okay, great, let's do 6:30 p.m. on a Tuesday night. I don't care. As faculty, we teach because we want to be there for our students and we want to support them. So most faculty I know will say, hey, you let me know when you're available. We'll do our absolute best to make sure that we are able to meet with you via Zoom or over the phone or whatever works for you. So the thing I would say about that is just make sure you reach out to your faculty if you have any questions whatsoever. I remember when I was a freshman in college, I took a foreign language class and I wasn't super confident, but I thought maybe I was okay. And I didn't want to bug the instructor if I kind of knew what I was doing. And my first paper, I think I got a C on. And the instructor was like, why didn't you come to me? I'm like, well, I didn't want to bother you. Instructor is like, this is what I'm here for. This is exactly why I teach. And that was really eye-opening for me. And all of a sudden, my grade shot up from a C to an A because I started going and bugging the instructor during his office hours. So I would encourage all of you to take advantage of your faculty members. It's what we're here for.
Thank you. And to make sure everyone also knows that the academic advisors in the Undergraduate Affairs Office provide appointments face-to-face, through Zoom, or even by phone. So we are very flexible and we're available to assist you. Another question is, what resources, departments, or offices at UCF do you recommend students find and take advantage of the help that they provide here at UCF, and that is, outside of the classroom? What other resources and other offices on campus? Thank you.
Well, so I think the first thing that comes to my mind is the Career Center, but there's a Writing Center. So if you struggle with written assignments, then certainly take advantage. You have to be organized. So you have to write your assignment ahead of time so that you can get the consultation with the person at the Writing Center. But I would always recommend that you work ahead of deadlines anyway. But the Career Center has a lot of resources. They could do, I believe they could do mock interviews. They have a variety of career fairs. And keep in mind that even if the career fair isn't exactly matching what you perceive your career to go into with one of our majors, it might still behoove you to sign up to go to one of the career fairs they have through this Career Center, so that you can do some face-to-face interaction with employers. And you never know, there may be opportunities. Like Matt mentioned, he worked as an insurance adjuster, and I know a lot of times there are insurance companies who come to those career fairs, so they may not be looking for business majors only. So it's sort of one of those things. I highly recommend you get your resume ready to go, so that when opportunities of any kind come up, that you're able to, put yourself in the, in the running for something. And the career services area can really help you with that, that resume if you're struggling. So you just got to get started with it.
I would echo that. And I would also add, working with the University Writing Center, especially for criminal justice majors, a lot of what you're going to be doing in your career could be related to report writing. So being able to write well is going to be a skill that is going to serve you well throughout your career. And I think it's one thing to think of as building a skill because it develops over time. The other thing that I would say is make yourself familiar with the student services that are available throughout UCF. For example, if you need extra time on exams or if you have accommodations in high school, touch base with student accessibility services here at UCF to make sure that those accommodations are reflected and you can be in the most in the best position to succeed here at UCF. I think that's what the faculty are here to support, and UCF as a whole is here to support.
Matt, thank you so much for bringing up the University Writing Center. I am always telling students to use that resource, which is so important. And again, post-pandemic, lots of opportunities for, virtual tutoring and meeting up on Zoom and going over papers. I think that's really important for our students. We're looking for professional writing as well in our courses. And for those students that need that assistance, it's there and available. In our college, one of the resources that I would like to highlight is the Curriculum Materials Center. So we're the only college that has its own library. And while we have the major hit library right there behind the reflecting pond, we've got the CMC, which is the Curriculum Materials Center, right near Einstein's in our education complex building. And they have amazing resources for students, not just for coursework, but for passing exams, for putting together assignments. We have some of the most, I say we, just because I work a lot with Amy Doviditis, that's the director of the CMC, and we've worked really hard to enhance the technology that is there. Glowforge, $6,000 machine, Crickets, all sorts of things to help you do what you need to do and to teach you about some of the latest technologies that are out there to best educate children.
And I'm going to go ahead and echo what Matt said. In the legal studies department, all of your instructors are lawyers, and lawyers tend to be a little annoying about making sure like commas are in the right place. It's just how they're trained. So the Writing Center is really important. It's a terrific resource for our students, and also student success services. That is a fantastic place to go if you had any kind of accommodations in high school, or you think maybe now's the time for you to potentially have accommodations moving forward. It's something maybe you hesitated on in the past, but at the college level might be right for you. They're a great office to reach out to and see how they can potentially help you. As faculty, we really do what we absolutely can to work with students who are working with the Success Office as well. So I would recommend reaching out to them too.
Thank you. We had a question regarding financial aid, and we have Ms. Alicia Keaton here. And thanks, Alicia, for being here. This question is regarding what are the criteria for the Pegasus Scholarship?
Well, good evening, everyone. I didn't get an opportunity to introduce myself. I'm Alicia Keaton. I'm the Interim Associate Vice President for Enrollment Planning and Management. So the offices that I'm responsible for are undergraduate admissions, financial aid, and the registrar office. And I'm formerly the financial aid director. So yes, this is a great question for me. The Pegasus Scholarship is actually offered through undergraduate admissions at the point in time of admission. It's based on GPA and test scores. It's fully a merit scholarship, so you can't apply for it. It is offered at the time of admission. So what I would encourage students to, if you've not been offered an undergraduate admission scholarship, that you definitely go to the financial aid website. We have an online scholarship application we call A2O, Access to Opportunities. And it is a great database. It has a ton of scholarship opportunities there. It's actually live for the upcoming year. So we encourage our students to go there, you put your information in, and it will match you to scholarships that you appear to meet the eligibility requirements for. And you can just go in once a week, once every 2 weeks to see if you've matched to anything. And if you need to upload an essay or a resume, if that's what the scholarship requires, you can do that. So I would encourage students to definitely go to our website and look for access to opportunities. We call it A2O. But to answer the question for Pegasus, that is a recruitment scholarship. So it's for students for incoming freshmen, actually, when they are being admitted, and admissions looking at your GPA and your test scores, and they will offer that to you at that time.
Thank you, Alicia. The next question for the panelists is, do I have to go to grad school to work in this field? So for our new students, do they have to go to grad school to be able to work in the field that you're representing?
So health informatics and information management undergrads, when they finish the degree, they're eligible to sit for a credential exam. It's the RHIA. And that is so you don't have to have a master's degree to sit for that exam. And I would actually encourage, when students ask me about going to grad school, I always tell them to get a job first and start working in the field, because what you don't want to do is get a graduate degree and with no work experience, and then the first job that you get may be, you may expect it to be at a higher level, but it might be at that bachelor's level. So you could have been working while you were getting your master's. So you do not need you don't have to have a master's in health services or in health informatics and information management. Once you get into the field and you kind of see maybe what pathway you want to take in your career, then you might need a master's degree to take the next step in your career. But to get started, you absolutely do not need a master's degree. Matt?
It's similar with criminal justice. So your starting salary with a bachelor's degree will likely be higher in a criminal justice organization, but you do not need a master's degree for entry into the profession. When you're a couple of years into your career, then if you're interested in promoting through the ranks of your organization, you're most likely going to need to have a graduate degree. So then you would need to start looking at a master's for criminal justice. You might be looking at the criminal justice master's program that we offer at UCF, or our dual degree program with public administration. But it's not until you're looking to move up into the supervisory ranks in criminal justice that you would need a graduate degree.
In education, your 4-year degree, either in exceptional student education, elementary education, early childhood education, or which one am I missing? Early elementary, secondary, ESC, early childhood, that's all 4. You just need a bachelor's degree, but much like the others, if you want to progress or kind of, open up your marketability, there are many different master's degree programs. I went ahead and did an educational leadership degree to where I could be a principal after I'd been a teacher. So there's lots of opportunities. There are graduate certificates as well, and in a lot of different areas. Some of my students I know decide they want to go on to earn their master's degree because during their undergraduate experience, they really felt a calling, for example, to work with students with disabilities. So they decide they want to get a master's degree in exceptional ed. Or during their elementary, they really discovered they love to work with the very young students. So they get a master's degree in early childhood. They love to teach children how to read. So they get a reading master's degree. There's so many different areas that you can go into. But initially, you just need that bachelor's degree in whatever discipline that you're interested in.
And in legal studies, it's somewhat similar. For legal studies, we have a lot of students who go on to work in law firms, either as legal assistants or paralegals. As a matter of fact, by completing the legal studies bachelor's program at UCF, you're automatically qualified to sit for the Florida Paralegal Certification exam. You don't have to do any additional coursework. You can sit for the exam and become a registered Florida paralegal without any additional coursework whatsoever. So for a number of our students who want to go work in the legal field as a legal assistant, a paralegal, something along those lines, all you need is a bachelor's degree. Additionally, we have a number of students who go into fields that are related to the law, but aren't technically like working as a lawyer or anything like that. For example, HR. So for those kinds of positions, you do not need more than a bachelor's degree, generally speaking, unless maybe you're at management level. If, of course, your interest is going to law school, becoming an attorney or a judge or something like that, then yes, you would need to continue on to law school and get your Juris Doctorate. But for the vast majority of our students, you can absolutely find a very rewarding career with just your bachelor's degree.
Thank you. How about the question about the importance of a course syllabus? We will have a number of our students are starting with us this fall, and others already just started this summer. So as a faculty member, can you tell us about the importance of a course syllabus?
First of all, we have guidance at UCF from our Faculty Center for Teaching and Learning about what components need to go into our syllabi. So you'll recognize from course to course a lot of similarities, but it is important. It's a contract between you and your faculty member. Sometimes faculty members will require that you provide something to say that you actually read the syllabus and that you understand it and you have no questions. And so it's a document that you're sort of held to throughout the course. So it is something that you should read from the beginning to the end. And, if you don't understand something, certainly ask your faculty member. It's interesting how things change so quickly in academia. Just a couple of years ago, we had COVID terminology in our syllabi. And now we've, removed that, but we might have some other terminology that is more pertinent to what's going on in the landscape in academia. So, that's part of it. But, my syllabi have I even have some information about some of the assignment details. And I always have a schedule that tells you when things are going to be due. And if a lot of instructors will not accept late work. So you need to be aware of what the guidelines are that you are given. And we realize that things like hurricanes happen and that sometimes, we have to be more flexible. But for the most part, that syllabus gives us a way to get through all the material that we need to get through to make sure that you understand everything and you'll be successful in that coursework. So it's considered a contract. So, it's, Christy can probably elaborate on that more when it's her turn to talk, but that's what that's the way it's termed. A lot of times it's termed is that it's a contract between the student and the instructor as to what you are expected to do and then what you can expect for us. So, and what we're expecting from you. Matt?
I agree. I don't have a whole lot to add. One of the other things that you'll see in my syllabi, in addition to the things that Alice was talking about, is I highlight the specific topics that'll be covered in each class meeting. That way you're able to come to class prepared to discuss that topic. Also, I break down the number of assignments, how those impact your overall grade. and other types of opportunities in class, and maybe other resources that you might use to help with coursework. But like Alice said, the syllabus is a contract between the faculty member and the student, and it really sets the ground rules for how the semester is going to go.
I don't have a lot to add to that, but each course will have a syllabus. Our courses actually align all of the state standards and our requirements to the objectives. And then, of course, yes, provides that course schedule so that you know what's to come. I know I teach mixed mode courses at times, so that course schedule will show you exactly when you have to be in a class face-to-face and when you'll be meeting on Zoom, for example, or if a course or class meeting is asynchronous. So lots of different things to learn from the syllabus. And again, as Alice said, most of us use kind of that academic activity requirement that happens at the end of the first week as part of, please read the syllabus, please sign this, that you've read the syllabus, you understand the syllabus, and you know the requirements of the course. And that's for you to be successful in that class.
And I will echo that sentiment. As a faculty member, you know, we try and put time and effort into creating a syllabus that will help students learn what the expectations for the course are. And so our expectation in return is that students will take the time to read that syllabus. One thing I will say is that if you receive a syllabus from a faculty member, which you should for all of your classes, go ahead and just automatically at the beginning of the semester, put in due dates for any of the major assignments that are listed in that syllabus. That can really help you to kind of plan your semester out. The other thing is that I learned as a student, if I all of a sudden see that I have 4 or 5 classes and all of them have big projects to do the same week, I know that I'm either going to have to redo my schedule for the semester, or I'm going to have to really plan in advance and make sure that a couple weeks in advance, I'm working on some of those projects. And I found that by doing that, like week 1 of the semester, it was able to help me be more successful throughout the entire semester. So just a little tip I'll throw out there for you all.
Thanks so much. As a faculty member, we would like to hear what is your advice for a new UCF student. If you had one thing to tell a new UCF student, what would that be?
I would say be open to opportunities, take advantage. There's a lot of things that are available to students that once you graduate and move on, then, you know, maybe the same type of opportunities won't be available. So take advantage of mentorship opportunities, you know, fun stuff too. The clubs, we've all kind of mentioned clubs. I think every major in our college has a club or 2 that you could get involved with. And it's a great way to start your network. I can't emphasize enough how important networks are while you're in school. And then when you graduate, you'll still have your network that you created here at UCF. And you just never know when that network may open a door for you down the line. It may be an internship, but it may be actually part of your career in the future. So keep, you know, never burn your bridges, keep those doors open, get kind of, you know, get out of your shell. If you, you know, that might be hard for some people coming new to school, but, you know, it's kind of in the ball's in your court to sort of, you know, move forward and take advantage of as many opportunities as you possibly can. I realize some people have jobs and families, and all these things can be kind of difficult to fit in time-wise, but even if it's remote, you know, opportunities, I will say ideally, now that we can, it's best to try to do face-to-face wherever possible. And that's where it's important. Even if it's a local UCF alumni event, watch parties are a great way to meet other UCF friends kind of thing and get a network going that way. You just never know. So if you're not in the Central Florida area, there's a lot of other opportunities, but I think it's always going to kind of go back to face where you can, get in the thought of, trying to go someplace and actually meet people. It's different, we've been away from each other with COVID, but really, as you get started, I think kind of breaking out of that idea and trying to get some face-to-face interaction with your classmates, with your faculty, with other UCF students that are not in your major, with alumni. I mean, there's a lot of people out here willing to help, but we need you to sort of take that first step. So I wish you the best of luck in your career at UCF.
I would echo the things that Alice was saying, and part of what she was saying with taking that first step, I would encourage you to be engaged in your program here at UCF. So that's going to be planning out your schedule before you meet with your advisor. That way you know what you should be taking, and your advisor is really confirming that and confirming that you're on the right path toward graduation, but also being engaged in your courses, engage with faculty members. Those are the individuals that are going to be writing you letters of recommendation in the future. So you want them to know who you are, you want them to know what your work was, and be able to recall who you were as a student, be able to elaborate on that in that letter of recommendation. So it's important to engage in class. If you don't feel as comfortable, because it is a larger university here at UCF, sometimes we have larger sections, take advantage of those office hours. Talk with your faculty members, talk with students that are in your courses as well. It's one of the few opportunities that you're going to have to really focus on the topic of your education in such a concentrated way over your degree program here at UCF. So there are a lot of opportunities to engage, and like Alice said, be open to those opportunities. Leanne?
I would really say to go to sporting events. Own a UCF t-shirt. I cannot tell you how many times I'll ask students, hey, have you been to a game? No, I haven't gone to one yet. And I teach juniors and seniors. So you need to be on it in regard to, going to football games and baseball games and softball games. And we just have some amazing athletes and wonderful experiences. Get some of your friends in your college, be open to making new friends. I often see that my own students kind of devise their own little cohorts, and they end up signing up for classes together, and they support one another. And then inevitably, when you get out into the school system, you become a teacher, you're going to have that support group of teachers around you as well. So that's just a great way to start. I will tell you that this is a very finite amount of time. You have a very little time to make the most of your college experience, and then you just don't get to do that again. You could get another degree, but it won't be the same. So just make sure that you're making the most of all the opportunities, making new friends, and enjoying everything that the University of Central Florida has to offer.
I agree with everything that's been said so far. The only thing I'll add is don't be afraid to ask questions. And this is something I tell my students every semester. And that is, if you have any question at all, even if you're afraid it's a stupid question, I don't care. I want to hear it. Because by asking it and getting an answer from someone else, it helps relieve stress and frees up some space in your mind for you to enjoy the present. Then it is absolutely worth someone else's time to answer that question for you. So whether you're asking questions of your colleagues in your classes, hey, are you going to this event? Hey, are you joining this club? Hey, can I grab lunch with you after class, anything like that. Or whether it's questions of your faculty member, right? Questions about course content or advice or anything like that. I think it is well worth the time and the effort for someone to answer your question if it's on your mind. So never hesitate to ask questions and enjoy every second at UCF.
And from the advising office, our number one advice is ask for help. Don't feel intimidated or that, oh, no one is going to care, nobody knows anything. No, we are here to assist. And you have met us during orientation, or if you have not attended orientation, you will meet our advising team. I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. I think this was a great time getting information straight directly from faculty experts in their field and other university administrators. I want to congratulate you again as you begin your undergraduate career at UCF. I will disclose, just as Dr. Trimble, I am a UCF alum, 2 degrees, a graduate certificate. I'm a proud UCF alum. And besides the games, I also will encourage you to spend time in the student union and to watch out for all the fall 2023 welcome events that the university will have available to you. So thanks again. And I know that you cannot respond, but it is go Knights, charge on. Have a great evening.